Some of the most ridiculous pad work you're ever going to see. Tenshin Nasukawa in his kickboxing prime, not to be confused with now, in his boxing prime, one of the few fighters who's become a world champion in kickboxing and then transitioned to boxing and become a world champion. Yoshiki Takei, another kickboxing Southpaw K1 champion, has also done this. We're going to break down some incredible pad work footage. If you want to see the originals, go to a small channel, hasn't uploaded in a while, Joe Gaijin. Just type in Joe Gaijin, Tenshin Nasukawa pad work, and you're going to see this amazing pad work. I'm George Hardwick, 13-3 professional MMA fighter and full-time coach as well. Let's break this down. So let's go back. We see Tenshin Nasukawa has this great Japanese kickboxing style. He's using his right kick. It's very important for a southpaw to have a good right switch kick. And we see there, his standing foot, as he's throwing that kick, generally doesn't turn all the way out in that Thai style full rotation, which has a few disadvantages and a few advantages. So obviously, doesn't turn all the way around and pivot all the way around. So there's probably a little bit less power on single kicks, but it means this kick can come up at this 45-degree angle under the elbow, and he can throw repeated kicks, bam, 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 much more easily. And then he can land back in his stance to throw punches again much more easily. So there's advantages and disadvantages. There he can get back into his stance, throw that jab to high kick very nicely, playing with the lead hand. See how he plays with the lead hand and then teeps under it. There's a lot of space for that lead teep as your hand fight, because as they reach their hand away to hand fight, you get that teep. See how everything in this pad work is going to build off and then lead to the next thing. There's that Joaquin Buckley teep. The train partner catches it, then he turns into that two-touch kick. 1-2 right hook into low kick. Padman stands southpaw to pad for these low kicks. Has that Masakazu Watanabe padman set up. You generally see these Japanese guys with the money padding up like a transformer, like Gundam. There's those big left teeps as well coming up the middle. See, there's that right high kick goes onto one pad because it's a different purpose. It's not like a big knock through the pad type high kick. Here he does his big teep and he's going to hold one pad there. Now, there's certain things you have to bear in mind when you're one padding high kicks. When you one pad a high kick, see like that wheel kick there, if you stiffen your arm and try and meet force by force and catch it like you do with other shots, you're probably going to just knacky your rotator cuff. If you are one padding a wheel kick or a high kick, you've got to just be like bamboo, let it flow through. You've got to let that arm get knocked out the way. If you go tense on it, it's not going to work. There's a really nice little combo. Inside low kick into left knee. Very nice combination. Possibly put it a little bit too far back, but inside low kick into left knee. Body kick there. 1-2 slip, 2 and hook to the body. Using these knees as he's getting in close. A good pad-man-fighter relationship. They'll know. Sometimes they'll hold the pad for a kick, but they'll know if they're too close, the fighter will, and they'll throw that knee instead. Same with punches and elbows. If you're close enough and you have a good relationship with your padman, you can just swap that punch out for an elbow, and it gets you in a good sense of throwing that range. There he's going right low kick. He's going to use it to set up a high kick, I believe. Low kick, high kick. Very nice. You see Elias and Ahachi use that a lot. And then that's why that two-touch. See how everything leads off to each other? That two-touch bicycle kick, low kick to high kick, the Shogun Hua style one. It leads off very well because he already establishes the threat of the right kick, and then that allows that touch with the right low kick into left high kick to be a lot more effective. There he's using that check, that back leg check, somewhat very rare in MMA, but you will see it more in kickboxing and Muay Thai where the stances can end up a lot narrower. There's that slide by hook, check hook, into cross and then into knee. Very good combination for the southpaw, super basic, left cross, left knee, because the left cross prepares your body to throw the left knee. Super easy to pad, especially when you've got a body pad on. So it's always worth practicing. There he goes, body left straight into left knee to the head. Naturally, as someone tenses up and uses a classic kickboxing guard, I've gone a little bit far back, but we're going to see that kind of two-touch thing again. He's using the right low kick, establishing the threat of the right leg, whether he's going to use that two-touch spin or two-touch into the left high kick. But everything's establishing everything else. There, he one pads that kick, and the effective thing about having different styles of padding for different kicks, so sometimes he takes that low kick on the thigh pad, sometimes he holds his hand out there, is it trains the fighter to have different intensities of the same technique. Something that's one of the hardest things to do in martial arts is throw the same technique with different intensities. Naturally, you throw it hard once, you want to throw it hard every time. You throw it soft once, you want to throw it soft every time. But it uses it for different purposes. There's that combo again, like a left hook to the body, in to left jump knee. This is like the Mike Tyson body hook uppercut combination on steroids, or takoyaki, should I say. But see how he's got a really deep angle on this. His foot was way outside before going this knee, so he doesn't jump too close with the knee. Well, because he's already close, the knee's coming out. It's almost adducted out to the side here rather than coming straight through the middle. Let's see if I can just knock it back a few. There we see jab, body hook, left knee. Pretty sure Yoshiki Takei has got a good knockout with this as well. See how the padman switches stances as well, whether he's padding for low kicks or body kicks into that open side. Double on the body kick there. It can be very fast because that standing foot only turns out like 45 degree. There's that one pad on the low kick. Now, if you were going to develop low kicks a lot, I wouldn't suggest one padding it if you wanted to develop someone's power. But if he's using it as a setup into his left straight, a really good combination for a southpaw, right low kick into left straight, I would recommend that. Jab and check. See how he's just building the defense in. A little bit of a mess up. Even brilliant people can mess it up on the pad sometimes. Because he's checking across himself and inside check with that right leg, it leads really well into the rear straight. It'd be very difficult for him to check an inside kick and then throw a lead hook, because it'd kind of be like a slap. Maybe he might slap and then go into the left straight. There, 1-2, left teep, into a Superman punch. See how everything leads off everything. So he goes 1-2 left teep because he's established the threat of the left teep. Then the Superman punch follows in very nicely, rather than just throwing it naked. Here we see a one pad high kick, and again, he's using that to step down very quick. That high kick there, probably in terms of a real fight against a live opponent, isn't going to be a knockout high kick. It's going to just clatter on the arms and stand them still, and he can steal outside foot position. Let me see what stance the padman was in whilst holding for this combination. Wonder how far back to go. So there's jab. So padman's actually standing southpaw, but it's the same thing. If he was doing this against an orthodox, he would just clatter against the arm, and then he can use that kick up there to steal an outside foot position wherever that may be at that moment in time. And see how the padman switches stance as he walks back to make padding a little bit easier. There's high kick into side kick. Often if someone leans back or steps back out the way of that high kick, then the side kick's just going to interrupt them stepping back in. Jab to low kick, using it on the thigh pad. He's got these very quick low kicks, and a lot of his later career was almost like Ikonu Nasukawa. My brain was farting. But like a very economical style later on in his career, where he was using a lot of low kick counters to rack up points. Using that back kick, pretty sure we see a low kick into back kick, a left low kick into back kick. Jab, low kick, establishing it. Jab, low kick on this side. Jab, low kick, back kick. See how he sets his stance really well. This is like a Taekwondo basic combination. Obviously, they don't do it with a low kick in Taekwondo. But because he hits that left round kick, that's going to knock his opponent into the path of the left back kick. And because he's in a more of a kickboxing stance, he's going to have to do some kind of preliminary movement to set himself to throw the back kick, which might be a little bit of a tell. But if he does that low kick, he can hide setting himself for the turning back kick, the left spinning back kick, by recovering his stance into that position. So he's preoccupied his opponent with the left low kick, and as he returns, he gets himself into a stance that's ready to throw that left back kick. But the opponent doesn't see that change in stance as obviously, because it's just on the return of a low kick, rather than it being he's standing, he slightly shifts his stance, primed to throw a back kick, and then goes naked. Using the jab and movement. Good to have these points of movement. Jab to teep off the same side. Really good combination for the southpaw. Really good combination generally, because that jab just brings the opponent's arms up, and it prepares your body. Sometimes he does that back kick like you saw there, a little bit more defensively, so he keeps his standing leg a bit more bent when he's using it as the padman rushes in. 1-2. See, it's the pad. There's a teep. If the padman's rushing in and he does this back kick, he tends to do it a lot more defensively. I've probably not put it back far enough. There's another one of them Chizoku kicks, weeb kicks as we call them, because it's just easier to spell and easier for the sake of everybody, probably. Jab teep. But on the back kick, if he's going backwards, he keeps that standing leg a little bit more bent. He's just mixing different strikes. See how he didn't really step down and try and cover much distance. He kept his back leg bent and kept his actual kicking leg a lot more bent, so he can spin a lot quicker. Left straight into the body, left straight to left knee to the body is always a good one, because sometimes it can take a long time to get that hand back after throwing the straight to the body. You can just bring it straight up a knee, like he does there. I was quite sus when I saw people padding high kicks like this on that same side. So padding a left high kick, just that one pad on that side. So padding a left high kick just with the right arm like that. It looks very, very difficult to do. It looks like you're not going to be in a strong enough position to pad that high kick, and your head looks very vulnerable. But I started doing it recently, and it's surprisingly easy. I have a really good set of pads for it, but surprisingly easy. There, he's banging out multiple right kicks, really good. You know, if you watch Panamorung, he's a really good southpaw left kicker. But then if he comes across someone who is southpaw as well, he can bang that right kick in, and because he's not turning that standing foot, is Nasukawa, too much, he can throw them repeatedly, very quick. Wheel kick, there, he uses that jab into the wheel kick to just hide the stance switch. Well, not a stance switch, but the little shift in stance that prepares his body for the spin. 1-2, just super southpaw basics. Jumping back kick, because he's not really set it up there, the jump can mitigate the stance change. So like a normal kickboxing stance isn't the best stance to throw a back kick from, but if you jump, you don't have to take any preliminary steps. It can come a little bit quicker. Obviously, you might lose a little bit of base. Right hook into back fist can always end up a little bit controversial in kickboxing because oftentimes it lands with the forearm. Hook into back fist there, and he spins back the other way, almost like Belfort spin kick against Luke Rockhold style. There's that two-touch kick, so you establish that right low kick and then go. It works really well for a southpaw against an orthodox. He's going more single shot power on these left kicks, and that because he's going a lot more single shot power. You see. Well, let's see if we can pause the moment. Boom. Because he's going more single shot power instead of firing into the next kick or firing in to the next punching combination, we see this foot, it turns a lot more. So that heel is pretty much pointing at the target he's hitting because he's doing the single shot kicks. A lot of time when people step in that 45-degree kick, like 45-degree angle on the standing foot, it's so they can follow in again with more kicks or more punches. Sometimes it's just to change the angle of the kick, and then they can almost come 45-degree up under the elbow. There's that little skip. That's a really nice maneuver. I think people call it the pop cat in Thai, where you bring that shin across and then it prevents their clinch entries. It's almost like a standing knee shield. You know, the knee shield in jiu-jitsu? It's almost like a standing equivalent to that. Really nice combination there where he hits that right high kick and then steps down into his punches. But it's not like some super crazy loaded up high kick. He literally just picks his leg up. There's that jumping back kick because his padman was stepping in. He does a very tight spin on the jump. He doesn't need any preliminary movements. He's just building his defense in, using that back leg check. Sometimes mixing in between a more conventional teep and almost that Thai side teep. It's like a jab, isn't it? It's like a jab. If you only have one kind of jab, someone's going to time that and hit you with an overhand. If you only have one kind of teep, someone's going to find the correct angle to elbow parry it across and counter you. So it's good to have different types of teep, something to practice, whether it's that more just standard straight up the middle teep, whether you angle it in or out, that Cyril Garn externally rotated style, or whether you do that Tawan Chai, Samart Payakarun Thai sidekick style teep. Boom. Teeping up to the head. Probably a good idea to double pad that or pad that away from your face. Okay, let me know in the comments who I should break down next. If you like it, consider having a look at the Patreon. Give it a subscribe. And just generally have a good day. Also, get out and walk in the trees. It's not just that it's more relaxing than going out compared to walking in an urban environment. There's actually stuff you inhale, like pinene and stuff, which is really good for your health and really good for your immune system. Walk amongst the trees, bro. It's really good for you. And subscribe to my YouTube channel.